Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are kind of a mess, and I cannot respectfully say they're good games. Again, just like the previous time I did something similar to this, I kinda didn't really want to do this video, I just wanted to stream this game and just have a little bit of fun with it, but then I saw the box, performance issues, and all the other myriad of wonderful little things this game has, and decided that, well, first of all, maybe I will stream it just for the memes, but second, I kinda want to talk about why this game is such a mess, but from my own perspective. And also I kinda wanna tackle a certain demographic of people that are bashing on this game, but at the same time somehow trying to defend Gamefreaks. I will try to be as brief as possible and just tackle this game in 3 different points. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as a game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as a part of the franchise, and all of the messy performance issues we had at launch. Do bear in mind that maybe if you're watching this from the future, this might mean that the game might actually be 100% okay now and run smoothless, but we gotta talk about the state in which this game came out as well. Let's tackle the first point, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as a game. Honestly, as a game, considering what I look for games myself, yes, it's gonna be a very subjective video by the way, I'm gonna be 100% brutally honest, I like this game. I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. I just got it for the weekend on release day, and I have not been able to put it down. And it's been a while since I've said that for a Pokemon game. Honestly, the idea of an open world Pokemon game is something that I think all of us collectively wanted for ages, and in some areas I do feel Scarlet and Violet actually pay this off. But then again, I guess I should say that I'm a bit of an oddity when it comes to a player of Pokemon games, because I basically play the game for the story, or the victory road path, if you will. I don't usually do a lot of multiplayer battles or competitive battles, or I don't even usually catch that many Pokemon, but this game kind of fixed that because now I'm catching a whole myriad of Pokemon. I'm basically catching every Pokemon I come around in every road I go into. I am having a blast. I like all of the characters that we've been introduced so far in the story. I like the fact that the victory road path is kind of the most boring one because it just features your rival and is the usual go collect all 8 gym badges and then challenge the Elite Four and then become the champion or champion ranked. I don't know, I haven't really played that far into it yet. I've only really beaten 2 gyms and one of the star team's bases, plus defeated one of the titans at this point. And even saying that, I really like the rival in this game. I think Nemona is actually pretty cool and a really cool and kind of cute take on the battle belligerent rival, even though she's not a douchebag like, let's say, Green was. At the same time, I do like a little bit the mystery aspect the story is brought by the creator in Area Zero, as well as Operation Starfall, I think it's called, or maybe it was Starfall Street, as well as the Path of Legends, aka the Titan Pokemons. I feel it's very refreshing having a Pokemon game that is open world, and I think at the same time, it does a very good job in establishing the fact that you can pretty much go wherever you want, and do whatever you want in whichever order you will please. Also, I think Paldea is one of the most stunningly beautiful regions we've had in the game so far, and this is coming from someone who finished Sword and Shield a couple of months ago before entering this game, with Galar being, well, as bored and tried as you remember it being. The couple towns and places I've explored are actually really cool, and I also like the fact that they fix a couple things that never really made much sense in my mind, like why are Poké Centers only in towns? Wouldn't it make sense to have them all around the places in case there was an emergency? So this game actually fixes that by having Pokemon Centers be out in the wild as well. Sort of like some rest stops, if you might. I also really like how everything feels so snappy in this game, getting into battles, getting items, leveling up your Pokemon, evolving your Pokemon, and even healing your Pokemon. There's some really good quality of life improvements on this game, like just pressing a button to automatically heal your Pokemon, to have a quick access to the map, accessing the online button real easily, and even the online is super smooth compared to Sword and Shield. It's really just go ahead, jump in, find a lobby, and just either play with your friends or get into terror raids. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I myself kinda do not mind that shops are mostly a screen now. One thing that would have been cooler though would have made them all be sort of a counter like some of the shops are in the game, just with someone standing in a little counter with the open shop and then you can go in there. It will make more sense why those are just menus. And there are some of those areas in the game, but again, I guess you can't have it all. And some little things like even the attack animations and the capture animations, they're really just on point. This is the Pokemon game, in my opinion, with some of the best animations I've seen the characters and Pokemon have. However, you're gonna hear me say this a lot throughout this video, this can be also considered the 1 step forward, 4 step back game. First and foremost, why can we still not turn off the XP share? Like seriously, at this point it's just ridiculous that we're not able to disable such a stupid function. Like honestly, I get it, it's probably super helpful and less time consuming to have it on all the time, but give me the option to turn it on and off if I want to. You really let me skip battle animations, make everything else so snappy and even very accessible, but you don't let me turn off the XP share. I don't understand why Gamefreaks has such an obsession with this. It is just as bad and as present as it was in Sword and Shield. Also, while some of the animations are snappy as hell, some of the others are still lacking a lot of polish or even unnecessarily long. Like the buffs and debuffs or status effects, they're still taking as much time as usual. Now if you're switching your Pokemon in the middle of battle, you kinda have to wait for the enemy Pokemon to just do this little growl or roar before your Pokemon actually comes out, adding even more time to it. When you terrestrialize your Pokemon, they actually have to have an extra animation before they attack to signify that they're terrestrializing just to look more powerful or something. And while I do not mind the free camera in some of the battles, I gotta say, they make them look a little bit less appealing at times. Like, I would have not mind them being like that for the wild Pokemon encounter, but then do a more dynamic camera, maybe for the trainer battles, not only for the special trainers of course. Also yes, you get more customization options for how your character can look compared to other games, to a degree, but one, it's still pretty lacking, and two, well, this is probably gonna be something only I care about, but why can't we edit or customize the animations and poses our trainers do when, for example, they call out an attack, or send a Pokemon, or celebrate a victory? I feel if one game would have really taken advantage of that, would have been this one. This should have been the game to bank a lot into customization, especially considering how it really sells its open world as hard as it does. But I think the biggest head scratcher with this game is the fact that, once more, it seems Game Freak is scared of making this game hard or difficult to any degree because, one, well, this is an open world, and if you know anything about the genre, it means you can go do whatever, whenever, however you want. In any game such as, let's say, Breath of the Wild, for example, you are able to go right away to the final boss and finish the game, let's say, in 20 minutes if you wanted to and you were good enough for that. Of course, this represents a challenge. Now, considering Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are RPG games, it would have been so easy to just translate this game into this new genre by doing an adaptive difficulty or level scaling, but of course, they didn't do that. The go whatever, however, whenever you want approach of this game is actually a lot of smokes and mirrors because, well, the game doesn't scale its difficulty. What I mean by this is that each area, including all the Pokemons in there, as well as challenges such as gym leaders, Titan Pokemon, as well as all the Team Star battles, have a set level to them. Meaning that yes, you can follow an exact path that is the most optimal path on this game, but if you don't, it basically just means you're going to be challenging the Dragon type gym leader with a little wheat cat that I know most of you chose because god damn it, everyone fell in love with this freaking cat. And of course you're gonna get decently pounded. Like you should. And of course you can try your luck and catch higher level Pokemon that just won't listen to you. But here's the problem with this approach. There's going to be a route that you can take in this game, which is I think the route I'm taking at the moment, in which you're gonna have a little bit of a challenge at first, but then inevitably you're gonna have to go back to the easier gyms with very low level trainers and Pokemon, and you're basically just gonna trample on them. Now this is a really interesting debate whether or not the game should have level scaling or adaptive difficulty of sorts, and I feel that would be the best approach, maybe having certain areas being blocked off at first, or maybe really difficult if you're low leveled, but the way it is now, I can see myself going back to the easier gyms and just trampling them down, to be honest, only because I didn't took the most optimal path. Now this is gonna depend mostly on your preferences, but I feel an adaptive difficulty or level scaling would have been much more easier. Like, let's say if you get into an area and you have an X amount of medals of whatever path you're taking, the challenge will be more difficult. It would have been so easier to do it this way, and then you could probably have more variety with the gyms. Like, you know, you could have probably have the Dragon type gym leader have like baby versions of the Pokemon, and then when you go to the Grass type gym leader, it would have had a lot more stronger last evolution lines of all the Pokemon. And one brilliant thing they added to this with terrestrializing is that gym leaders are not bound to just having one type of Pokemon. They can terrestrialize Pokemons of different types, but still have them use the moves that their Pokemon originally will have. I had this happen to me with Yono, the electric type gym leader, and I was actually caught off guard when her mystery was actually turning to an electric type. This is what I mean when I say that adaptive difficulty or level scaling would have actually gave this game a lot more impact when it came to challenging teams and the obstacles in different order. But as it is, each of them are a set level, and well, it kind of feels like the game wants to lead you into a certain path for you to discover, which is pretty easy. Once you get out of the academy at the end of the tutorial, just follow Nemona, and that will be the easiest, most on the rails path, basically. As a part of the franchise, I do feel that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a really important step into the direction this series might have to take more in towards the future. This game kind of feels like the baby Pokemon Legend Arceus, yes that's the pronunciation we're gonna go with, thank you very much, and Pokemon Sword and Shield had after one out of too many Malasadas and Curry basically. And this would be something that I would definitely love for them to tackle in the future, maybe not necessarily on the newer generations, but either way later down the line or even in a remake of one of the older games. How cool would it be to explore Kanto in a fashion like this, or even Johto or Hoenn? I mean, if they already did something like the remakes and then Let's Go versions, why not do an open world version like this as well? That would actually be really cool if you ask me. And I also feel the game is trying its best to appeal to the broader audience as it is. I do feel like, in general, all of the designs are very pleasing. I feel most of the newer Pokemon, especially the updated designs, look really well for the most part. And for whatever reason, everyone in Paldea is freaking hot. As a Spanish-speaking person myself, I do appreciate the fact that the Spanish-speaking game has most of the hottest people in the whole franchise. And I feel the approach of the story and also the approach of the paths is really important for the future of Pokemon, because to me, Pokemon is weirdly something you enjoy depending on who you are as a person, and different people will enjoy different things of Pokemon. If you ask me, I've always wanted a game like this that focused on either the story, the competitive aspect of it online, maybe the Pokemon gathering type, and maybe I always thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a Pokemon with branching path or storylines or things to do in the game, not only just go and do your set route to the victory road. And Pokemon Scarlet and Violet kinda has that, but in its own unique way. Whether that's a good or a bad thing is completely up to you, but I feel that certain paths up until the moment of this video, considering I've only played 2 gyms, 1 Titan, and 1 Team Star base, are way more interesting and intriguing than others, and it would have been kinda cool that all of the paths were equally intriguing and interesting. But again, the game kinda shoves all of these challenges within the same area, and they're not spread out far enough. Basically, if you're in the vicinity for one, you're gonna be able to reach the others easily, so you're gonna naturally want to do them each as you go per area. It would have been kinda cool if Paldea was just a little bit bigger, and then you would have to go not only to towns for the gyms, but maybe to desolate part of the maps for the Titans. Maybe some of the towns will be overtaken by Team Star, and then you have to free them from them, but there would be no gyms on that town. But as it is, it just feels like you get to a town which is gonna be your mini hub for all of the other paths, and then you move to the next one. But whether or not you do think this is the right path for series to go with the next generation is completely subjective. So I feel it's a great first step, but this still has a lot of work to be put into. And again, it does a lot of interesting to even really cool things for the franchise. Like, I really love how now, instead of just crossing your path and starting the battle automatically, you kinda have to talk to the trainers to engage in battle. I love the fact that everything is snappier and quicker what it should be. I feel the new designs of the Pokemon are really strong on this one, and whoever is designing a new Pokemon for this region should really be higher or keep being higher for the next regions to come, because honestly, most of the designs for the Pokemon in Paldea are great. And even little details on making some of the NPCs a little bit more present throughout your journey. What I mean by this is that every so often you will actually get some classes unlocked, and I think I haven't talked about this enough, and I don't know if it has been talked about enough as it is, but how cool is the concept that this game is based on a Pokemon Academy? I think that was one of the biggest selling points of this game, and I love the fact that you can go to school and not only learn more about the world that you're in, the region you're in, but even cool little details and honestly some fun interactions with the classes as well, some of the quizzes and questions that just get you on your toes here and there. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Persona classes segments, and I honestly really like them. I think they're really charming. Like, so far the math teacher is honestly one of my favorite, if not my favorite teacher. She's just so wholesome. And also it's cool how every once in a while you can go back to your school and interact with your teachers. Like, apparently there's an affiliate system with your teachers. I don't know what you will get out of that, but apparently that's a thing you can do, and I mean, that makes me want to go back and keep exploring and keep doing more things and interacting more with the school staff and teachers to see what that unlocks. And honestly, some of the interactions are actually pretty fun. Like, I love how the director or headmaster of the academy asks you like, oh, what this word, what does this slang that the youth uses mean? And you can just tell him whatever you think it is or whatever you want. And you're like, oh, I see, and he reacts differently depending on it. I think that's really charming. But again, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. This is all cool and everything, and I do realize how much I've praised the direction Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have taken this game, but it kinda still feels like a concept proof. It kinda still feels a little bit too experimental in a time and age in which you have so many amazing examples of open worlds. It feels like it lacks a lot of options, a lot of customization, and a lot of more interactivity that could make things better. Also, while we're at it, we might as well talk about this right now. I think Terrestrialize is kind of whatever. I like the concept, I like the little caps. of crystal the Pokemon get when you activate it. But seriously, do we need that more dumbed down Dynamaxing? Even the Terra rates are basically Dynamax rates, but just more quick and snappy and simple. Yes, it's cool that you can alter your Pokemon types and everything, but you know what? Again, I don't know if this is just me, but why do we have to make all these crazy mechanics? Why do we have to introduce a new shiny thing on each game when we already had a perfect system with the Mega Evolutions? Pair the Mega Evolutions with the regional variants, and we don't need all of this knick-knack, we don't need all of this terastallizing thing, all of these rates. Yes, it's cool that you can actually go to a friend's world and see him battle and advance the story, but wouldn't it be cool to have like a special campaign or a special part of the game here and there that you could only do online with your friends? Wouldn't it be cool that some of the giant Pokemon like Wailord will be really difficult to catch on your own, but it'll be really easy if you have your friends with you? Wouldn't it be cool to have contests or some content that you can do, maybe some special dungeons or layers you will need to do with your friends in order to advance and get rare items, maybe some of the stones to evolve the Pokemon or some of the special items to give them to hold, or even some rare Pokemon out here than there. You could have just gone crazy with the concept of an open online Pokemon world, but again, it feels a little bit outdated at the time of this video. It's cool that doing Terra rates and trade Pokemon is way easier than Sword and Shield and less cumbersome for sure, but it still feels quite lacking. It still feels like all the features that we've had ever since Pokemon X and Y or Sun and Moon. It doesn't really feel like it has evolved enough in order to be warranted to be so heavily premiered or even advertised. And that leads me to my last point of the video, which most of you probably watching this video would have been asking what the hell I was going to talk about, which is the messy release and optimization problems of this game. I'm just going to go out and say it right away. If you're one of those people that think the problem with this game is the fact that it came on the Switch, and pardon my French, sorry to the gods of algorithm and gods of monetization if I ever get there, but you're fucking stupid. You have these games that came to the platform. Amazing, beautiful, graphically greatly optimized games for this console. But no, you're here being like, oh well, it's because of the Nintendo Switch. If it would have been on the PS5 and Xbox, you know how fucking stupid you sound right now? It's not a problem of the console. A lot of problem with recent Pokemon game has not been the consoles they are. It's Game Freak itself. This game was in development for a long time, at the bare minimum 4 years. And again, I'm not talking about the people that actually work hard in this game, I'm talking about the people on top calling the shots. This game had more than enough time in development, especially for the product we got. If we would have had this game without all of the bugs and performance issues that have been reported, I'm pretty sure we would have been more lenient to it, and I would have complained still that it felt a little bit outdated, but I still would have called it a step in the right direction, praised it the hell to the moon and back, and be done with this video. Probably I haven't even done this video. But honestly, it is just shameful. It is honestly pretty embarrassing the state this game came out. Frame rate drops, the game chugging, a myriad of bugs. I've seen bugs in which the game actually stretches your character when you're trying to ride into Miraidon or Koraidon. The game actually crashing on the console. The frame rate stutter. Honestly, it is amazing that Sword and Shield's biggest problem when it came to the graphics was just that there were pop-ups and models fading in and out with the draw distance, but this game kinda makes Sword and Shield look like an amazing AAA game that took ages to develop. It looks more new-gen console than the actual new-gen console game. And all of the points I made, all of that praise I gave to this game might as well be thrown out of the window because of this fact. Because again, it's honestly very embarrassing the state in which this game came out. And of course, it might be patched later on in the future, and we have a whole discussion for another time on whether or not games should be this terrible on release, even if we know they're gonna be patched or not. And as someone who grew up in the Super Nintendo era, yes, I am that old, hey, welcome, it could be your grandpa, I know. It is honestly terrible in my opinion. But that's a discussion for another time and for another day. I want to address the fact that some of you might be calling me a hypocrite because I did say previously that I cannot put this game down. And here's why. I feel there are two camps when it comes to this game. Hyper fanatics that think Gamefreaks can do no wrong, this is all Nintendo's fault, and the fact that their hardware are usually very subpar compared to the competition. And people who says just because the graphics are bad and the performance is terrible, the game is shit. I feel both have a valid point, but at the same time I feel both are bad. This is a very fun game, and honestly, even though with the performance issues and everything, I'm having a blast with the game. And when the game is not having an aneurysm trying to render one little Mariel in the distance, it is actually pretty entertaining and fun. And honestly, some of the glitches and bugs makes for some damn funny ass memes. But, and I'm saying this as someone that usually does not care about graphics at all when it comes to games, if I'm having my experience be hindered, if I'm not able to connect or even dive so much into this game and connect with it because of how bad it looks, because of how janky it looks at times, and this is coming from me, and I'm saying this because if it's me, then it is actually a problem. Trust me, it is very abysmal. And again, I'm saying this as someone who has played some games with some performance issues here and there, some lagging and chugging, and I'm still enjoying them pretty much fine. This is not a problem for me usually, but with this game, with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, is so bad and so noticeable, it is a problem. And I really hope no future Pokemon game comes out in this state, because it feels lazy, it feels unfinished, unpolished, not on par to the quality we should expect with the largest media franchise of the fucking world, and it hindered what was probably possibly the best Pokemon game we should have had in ages, and an apology letter for some for Sword and Shield. So no, just because games like this exist in the Nintendo Switch at the moment, and with some of those games not being developed by the biggest media franchise in the world, is why I can't honestly say Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are good. These games are honestly awful. They're fun and entertaining, and if you like them, that is great. I love this game, I'm having a blast playing with my friends. But even then, not even to Pokemon fans, I can recommend this game. Because it's honestly telling Game Freak, we want more of this. This is okay, and I know I'm part of the problem. I didn't even know this game was gonna be this bad when I bought it. And that's the main reason why I'm making this video, because this is making me not wanna buy a Pokemon game on launch ever again. And I was super excited because this is the first Pokemon game that I've been a part of the launch in probably ages, maybe ever since Sun and Moon. I'm gonna keep playing this game, and hopefully before I finish it, I will get that patch that fixes all of the performance issues. But honestly, Game Freak, this is just embarrassing. If you're still thinking about getting this game, please watch some videos such as Before You Buy, some of the footage that I'm putting on screen here, some other YouTubers or reviewers that might be talking about this game. Inform yourself a lot about the state of the game at the moment in which you're thinking of purchasing it. And depending on that, you might be saving yourself a lot of money. You can spend something of way better quality with way more care and attention and love put into it. I'm not saying don't go buy Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'm just saying, be mindful of the state this game is in right now. But hey, even if you bought it and you're enjoying it just as me, again, no hate, I'm not a hypocrite. Again, I feel this game is terrible. I think these games are honestly awful. I myself keep enjoying them, I keep playing them, but at this point, hey, I already spent the $60, so I might as well just see it through. But for now, that'll be it for this impromptu video. We're gonna be finishing Claire's route for Resident Evil this week and uploading it pretty soon. I'm terribly sorry for the wait. I had a lot of commitments in my life during the previous week, so I couldn't be able to finish it. More essay videos coming up soon, as well as Leon's route on Resident Evil 2 Original. And hey, I started streaming on YouTube, so if you like to see me live, playing things such as Resident Evil, Signalis, Pokemon, Overwatch, and many other things, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Are you playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? What are your thoughts in the game? Please let me know in the comment section down below. And in the meantime, it seems this is going to be our to be continued. Please remember to hydrate, please remember to stretch, and please remember to keep being the beautiful, awesome, and amazing people you all are. And I will see you all in the next video. Jana!